Hello everyone, hi. So I'm Jake Abrams from Kingston School of Art in London, and...
Hi, I'm Emma Dodson. I'm a course leader of illustration and visual communication at University of Westminster. And
we're sharing this. So we're just going to talk about some really important stages of getting into a university. And what we're going to talk about is stuff that would be pertinent to anywhere you want to go. So because I'm from Kingston School of Art and you're from Westminster, it doesn't matter. What we're going to say would be equally applicable. Okay. So the first thing we're going to talk about is putting together a personal statement. And the first thing about that is, for a lot of the courses that we're talking about, we're not going to be looking at your personal statement unless there's a great portfolio. So always prioritize your portfolio. In the arts, the portfolio is king, and then the other stuff comes on. I think, would that be, yeah? Okay. Now, a personal statement is, though, a really important part of the process. And you have to think like a designer or an artist when you're putting that together. Quite often, schools have a sort of prescription for putting a personal statement together that is used for if you wanted to apply to engineering or medicine. But my contention is actually within the creative arts, you can actually do it in a different way, and you can show your creativity through how you put it together. So this you'll get this prescription from your school, and I think a list of really interesting things that you're interested in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 could be sometimes more powerful than a whole load of description about the clubs that you're doing and the extracurricular things that you're at. I think one of your jobs is to actually make someone go, wow, that is amazing. That's just really presented in a way that's been designed and thoughtfully thought through. So that's one point. Another point I wanted to say, and I won't keep you for very long, is that I never, ever plagiarize. Never, ever think of using someone else's. Because you can really be caught out with that. And universities have quite sophisticated, and UCAS has sophisticated software that will tell us. And so it always has to be original. You have a certain amount of words. I personally wouldn't use them all. Keep it short and sharp and to the point. Tell us what you're passionate about. Tell us what you're interested in, bullet points I think are sometimes much better than some long verbose bit of writing. So be really creative. Why you're choosing this subject area, what's special about you is very, very different from what your school sometimes says that you have to say. And I think that then when we've read that and think, God, that's really interesting or pithy or funny, then, then we might be inviting you to an interview, and that's a whole different ball game. Okay.
okay, guys. So I'm a visual person, and I was hoping there was some way that I could show you some pictures to remind me what to talk about. So bear with me while I consult my pictures, which are way more fun than probably what I'm going to say. But so I was going to talk to you a little bit about what to expect at an interview and how to prepare. And I think the first thing I would say is that it's not a test. It's not us judging you. It's not you having to learn lots of facts and figures and remember what artist movement this was or that was. It's really an opportunity for you to make sure that you've chosen the right course for you. Yeah, we want to know a bit about you, but you want to know a lot about us. Yeah, and I think we're not very interested in making you uncomfortable at an interview. You know, the best way we understand about you, the best conversations we have are going to be ones where we make you feel at ease. So try not, you're already going to be half terrified to come to an interview. So we're not, there's nothing that we're interested in, there's no tutors I know that are interested in making you completely terrified. That is not a productive conversation. So try and be yourself. There are some top tips. I mean, I would be prepared. My main top tip is know a little bit about the course. No, a lot about the course and that you've applied for and that you're being interviewed by. Make sure you know what it offers and why you think it's going to help you to develop your skills, to pursue your interests, and ultimately reach your career goals. So you do need to do some reading. But if you don't know all the answers, those are the questions that you jot down. And when they say, have you got any questions? You go, oh yeah, you didn't tell me about this. I'm really interested to blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that kind of research is always, I'm always like, oh, good, they're serious. Yeah. Be ready to discuss your work. This sounds really obvious, but I've had interviews where students have come and they brought this wonderful portfolio and we've opened it and I've asked them, so what was your inspiration here? Or what were your ideas there? And they're a bit like, oh, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking about then. So I want you to prepare by just reacquainting yourself with your work. You may have done it almost a year ago. Yeah, it might not be fresh in your mind, but then it becomes a much more, again, a conversation about your creativity, about what inspires you. Yeah, so I'm interested in your inspirations, you know, artists, culture, politics, the world around you, whatever you're interested in. And it's a bit like Jake said, I'm interested in you. I'm not interested in a generic, what you think the tutor might be interested in. Yeah, you don't have to say, oh, I really love, so we're from illustration, so but a lot of students might think, oh, I like Beatrix Potter, or I like these very traditional illustrators. Well, no, if you like some nutty musician that I've never heard of, I'm much more ready to believe, you know, this is the new thing, you're really conscious of what's going on now. That's way more exciting for me. So when you're talking about your ideas, me personally, so this is very specific to me, not everybody does this, I only know about me, I can't vouch for the whole interviewing, tutoring that goes on in the whole wide world. But I'd like to ask you about your favorite project, something that you've felt either challenged by or excited by how creative you were, or something that was really interesting to you. So be ready to tell me about that. Where do your ideas come from? You know, what are your starting points? What's your creative process? How do you move from that position of, I just like this artist and there was this idea that I had in my head? Is there just a final piece or is there a whole journey? Yeah, so make sure you've got some projects in your portfolio that you can actually take me on that journey through your creative process. I'm much more interested in the journey at this stage than I am in the final piece, if that makes sense. So lots of people come with beautifully finished final pieces with no story behind them. That's not so interesting. So also, can you talk about, yeah, that's it really. Yeah, so inspirations, ideas, what are you hoping to communicate to the world with your work, and imagery? Can you talk about it? Can you talk about how it developed? And that is mostly, my other thing is to say, be yourself. And that sounds really hard, really easy for me to say. And I know it's really hard to do. But I found on, I think it was UCAS, I had a quick look because I thought, oh, is this tying in with what UCAS is advising you? So I have some practical stuff that I thought was very handy top tips that UCAS were giving you. Give yourself plenty of time to attend. Yeah, check where your interview venue is. Get on the train before the one you need to get there on time. Check if there's a contact details if you get delayed. London tubes, not all that good always. Yeah, dress comfortably. Don't squeeze yourself into a suit because you think it's an interview, honestly. Just, there's a lot of expectation for art students to be, express their creativity through how they hold themselves, how they have their hair, how they dress. Maybe you know this. But I am conscious there's a lot of mums somewhere behind some of the dress decisions that are made for interviews. But if you feel uncomfortable during an interview because you're wearing clothes you'd never wear in your life, you want to wear something you want to be comfortable in. Don't slouch, don't yawn, don't fold your arms. Stay calm and keep eye contact. This was one of their tips, which I agreed with. And don't worry if you don't understand what the tutor's talking to you about. It's very likely they've been saying these words for years and forgetting that maybe it's not everybody's everyday language. So if you don't understand what we're saying, it's absolutely fine to ask, what did we mean by that, or could we rephrase that? And it's more likely that I'll feel a bit stupid for not framing that a bit more carefully. Yeah? So those, I think, are my top tips. I don't know if you want to add anything.
I think that was really good, and I've got very little to add. A really important one is, you are almost interviewing them, not the other way around, and that can be really empowering to think, well, actually, I'm going to choose this place because it feels like it has empathy to what I want, and so actually you're in a position of power. Remember that. Remember one question that they are definitely going to ask you, and that is, at the end, they'll ask any questions. And so I'd be ready for that. And so just have a really good question about about the course or about what you'd be doing there. They're going to ask it, so be aware of that. I think all the good colleges will try their damnness to make it actually quite a really nice experience. And you might be expecting, oh no, I'm on stage, but it won't be like that at all. It'll be really about trying to put you at ease and just finding out a little bit about you. I think a lot of, they'll already know a lot about you from your portfolio. So remember, you've already got that. Just to be yourself.